Good morning, beautiful, lovely dreamers out there. It is January 2nd, 2024, and this is episode 34 of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast, a podcast by a dreamer for dreamers or anybody else. So, a lot I could talk about. I'm trying to just decide what I want to focus on. So those of you listening to yesterday's podcast, I sort of laid out my New Year's Eve experience where I had one of the worst shows that I have had in recent or long-term memory. I really cannot recall the last time I've had a show go so poorly for a myriad of reasons. And yesterday I just had to drive back home. I stopped off in Yuma from San Diego, heading back home to Phoenix. So I just had to drive from Yuma to Phoenix. And I called up a buddy of mine, another comedian friend, and talked about, what had happened. And so it just reminded me of how important it is to really find your tribe, find your people who are in the same journey that you are. And that can be harder to find than I think maybe people realize, because unfortunately not everybody is actually on your team. Even people who may on the surface say that they're on your team, but it's kind of it can be lip service though. And you really find out who's on your team. And here's a good litmus test. Is number one, you can tell them bad news. And number two, you can tell them good news. And either one of those, you get good, positive support and energy. When you tell them bad news, they're there for you. You're able to talk through it, and they got your back. But you also want to be able to tell them good news. And when you tell them good news, they're excited for you. They are genuinely happy. They want to hear your story. And, that's not always the case. So I'm very fortunate that I have found a couple of people, friends and colleagues who are out there pursuing a dream. In this case, my buddy today is a comedian, and so he understands that specifically. And, I was just able to lay it all out there and just go through everything that had happened and just how difficult of a show that was for me to get through and to navigate, especially when I've been sort of on a hot streak. I mean, I've had some incredible shows lately, and I assumed that my New Year's Eve show would be great. I went in there with high expectations. I was really looking forward to the show, and thought that I would have a successful, fun, joyful comedy experience, and it just so quickly devolved into not that. And so having him, and then later that day I talked to another comedian who, I was able just to sort of lay it out. And then I had a buddy text me who, listened to my podcast where I was talking about it. And I'll tell you, find your tribe, find those individuals who, as Brene Brown would put it, are in the arena with you. Those individuals who are pursuing dreams, they're on a journey similar to yours, who get it, who really understand what you're going through and can relate. And even if they can't relate, it's not like everybody on your team needs to be the same as you. But if they aren't pursuing the same thing, they at least need to fit that other criteria of they are genuinely excited for you. They genuinely want to see you succeed. And when things are going bad, they are genuinely concerned and they want to be there to support you and help you. And I've experienced the opposite of that, where people who I think are on my team, and you tell them some bad news and they kind of use it to kick you while you're down. Or if you tell them good news, they're real quick to sort of rein you back in. Oh, well, just because that good thing happened doesn't, you know what I mean? And they're real quick to kind of douse your fire and your energy. And anybody out there pursuing a dream, it is hard enough as it is when something actually good happens and you are excited, to have somebody immediately try to douse your fire and your excitement. Try to put you in check, be like, well, that's all good, but the reality is, and blah, 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 blah. It's like, yeah, okay. We all know that reality sucks, and that is the challenge of being a dreamer. Is you are, at least for me, constantly in this state of having a big dream and a life goal and expectation that the current life that I'm living is going to expand and be bigger than what it is now, while also waking up every single day staring the reality that it is not that way in the face every single day. So navigating through that is the journey. That is the challenge. That is where all of the negative emotions come in, the depression, the doubt, the anxiety, the fear, the sadness, all of that, I feel, in my experience, stem from that discrepancy between the dream life that I am pursuing and today's reality. And bridging that gap mentally and emotionally is an everyday struggle. And me driving home for 6 hours over the next day from that gig that was just so bad, it was just brutal. It's brutal. And can just take such a toll. So having your tribe, having your people who you're able to call up and talk to in those moments, as well as the moments of, hey, guess what? Good thing just happened. And that they have your back. They don't have any hidden agenda, is really, really important and significant. So, again, I want to reiterate that if you don't have that in your life, hopefully this podcast can serve as sort of a surrogate version of that. That, if you're pursuing something and maybe you don't have a tribe or people in your life right now, hopefully this podcast can serve, again, as I just said, as a surrogate tribe member, and just know that, hey, I'm on that journey too. Things can get really, really bad and really difficult experiences, but things can also be really, really great. And it's having those experiences is the reason we would even go on this journey. It's going on this journey for the intention of experiencing and having emotionally charged experiences, both good and bad. It's delusion to think that the journey is going to be all highs and all just great, joyful experiences, and that we're never going to experience any of the negative emotion. But that is part of the journey, is navigating those high, incredibly rewarding, joyful experiences, and then navigating the extremely discouraging, frustrating experiences as well. And so anybody out there living your dream, living your journey, I'm here. I hear you. I see you. And I got your back. And I hope that you're having more good experiences than bad. But no matter what experiences you are having, I am thrilled that you are out there living your journey and living your dreams and going for them. And if you're hitting a rough spot, man, I hear you. I feel you. It can be brutal sometimes, and I got your back. It's going to be fine. You're going to get through it. Regroup. Do what you need to do to get back on a good emotional playing field, a good emotional state, whatever you need to do to clear that out. If you're in a meditation, if you're in a prayer, if you need to go for a hike, if you need to, go isolate, if you need to curl in the corner and, cry in the fetal position, you need to play some video games, you need to go watch a movie, go on a date, whatever it is that you do to get centered again, regroup and get back in a good emotional state. And move forward. And by the way, if you've had a big win, if you're having good experiences, I am thrilled for you. I'm genuinely thrilled. I love it when those experiences happen. I remember when I found out a buddy of mine who I started stand-up comedy with got booked on Saturday Night Live. It started blowing up on social media that this guy that I know got this huge break. And I was so thrilled. There was no, oh, well, why not me? And, oh, well, I just was like, that is the coolest thing that I've ever experienced, was him getting a big break. Because I think that's probably the closest associate that I've ever had to get that big of a break. You know what I mean? It's like, of everybody who I've met and known along the way, I don't think anybody I know has gotten that big of a launch. And it was so exciting for me to see that happen in this person who I know more personally. I mean, we weren't like super tight, but we were in a comedy class. We did a handful of shows together in Arizona before moving to LA. When he moved to LA, I kind of lost track of him, even though we were at LA at the same time. We never really ran in the same circles. So I was like, maybe I should have been running in his circle. Am I right? But yeah, he just got this big break, and I was thrilled for him. And so find those people in your life who are thrilled for you. And again, if you don't have one, I'm thrilled if something has gone well. And again, anybody, if you want to leave something in the comments, let me know what you're up to, what your dream is, what your experiences are. I would love to hear from you. Or if you just got the shit kicked out of you like I did recently, feel free to comment. Let me know what's going on. And as much as it's reasonable, me talking to the internet, to be that for you, then I would love to, again, as much as it's effective in this format, to be in your tribe, to be in your corner, assuming that your dream is noble. If you're like, I want to sell drugs to children, I may not be supportive of that, but anything short of villainous criminal activity, anything that's, creative and trying to better the world, or entrepreneurial, or anything in that sphere. Or, if it's more humble, you want to start a family, or you want to progress in your career. There seems to be a little bit of a like, oh, you're if you're not like an actor or a singer, it's like, not everybody in the world wants to be an actor or a pop star or a comedian. There are people who want to be, doctors and real estate agents and accountants, and they want to be really good at it, or they want to be a police officer and they want to have a career, So by that same token, if that is your dream and that's your journey, then I also want that for you, and I want to support you. And again, be in your tribe, at least virtually and through the internet, as much as that has some utility. So that is what has been on my mind here for January 2nd, 2024, as we get to the second day of the new year and episode 34 of the Paul Green Comedy PaulCast. I hope you're all doing well. You're finding your tribe, you're finding your people, and you're moving forward in your dreams and in your journey. And wherever you're at in that journey, I got your back, and I'm excited for you. And if things are going difficult, I hear you, and you have all of my encouragement and faith to regroup and move forward on your journey. So I love you all very much, and hope you have a splendid January 2nd, 2024. I'll talk to you tomorrow.